All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being a part of this. Definitely, I want to say thank you to the agents who are on here that are going to be doing our scripts. That will be both Chase and Troy Walseth, Jac and Jill Smith, no relation, and they're not together. Don't worry, it's just I had to group that because why not? Miss Eve Sawicki is on here as well. So I have those five at the moment. Again, just to let you know that this is not like karaoke, so don't feel like you're compelled to or that there's going to be public shaming. However, if you'd like to be a part of this, you absolutely can. The real purpose of this is to let people understand both the lightness and the flexibility and dexterity of scripts, as well as just the power of scripts and what they can do to help you with your efficiency. So with that, I'd love to kind of open it up in for the people that are on here. Why have scripts kind of been a thing for you? So I'll start with you, Troy. This is also an opportunity for me to hear that microphone one more time. As someone who has a very small team, I'm just kidding, and is looking to constantly build and grow, what is the importance of scripts? I mean, why is it something that's a part of your business?
It's interesting. I remember back about 5 years when I joined KW, and Lisa Spencer asked me what my favorite scripts were. And I'm like, I'm really not a script person. I really don't script. And she goes, oh, really? So what do you say when this happens? And I told her, what do you say when this happens? And I told her, and she goes, those are scripts, whether you like it or not. So I think it becomes so ingrained over time, you don't really know that it's called a script. It's just something that it's an objection handler. And I love that message more than even scripting. It's like, let's have some great objection handlers. So we do that with our team once a week at our meetings. So, I mean, you got to get your message out there. Who are you? What do you do? And that elevator speech, that can be a script. Like literally everything in this business, you're scripted to some point. So.
Absolutely. Eve, I know that you have focused on scripts, you've done Toastmasters, you've done other things like that. I mean, how have scripts changed the way that you have approached your business?
Scripts are very efficient, and I'm all about efficiency. So I like scripts because it gives me
yesterday, but they're not
a quick response. It gives me a response that I know is appropriate. And if the objection or whatever I'm dealing with turns out to be more extensive, a script gives me a starting point. So I would say efficiency is the name of the game for me, and that's why I use scripts.
I appreciate that. Back pre-COVID, we had a small core group of individuals who would come into the office early, sometime between 7:30 and 8. Many of the faces and individuals who are on here that are looking for an opportunity to be able to talk and build some of those habits include Eve, include Jill and Jac, as well as a few others from the office. Jill, you've done Bold, you've done coaching within the organization, outside of the organization. Would you say that you were naturally someone who gravitated towards scripts prior to real estate?
Yes, I love. Before real estate. Was that your question?
Did you use them before real estate?
Oh, I didn't do scripts before real estate.
And so how are they helping you now?
Well, now I'm working on for sale by owners, and I've got new scripts to share that I'm really excited about that I've been working on, and I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, because I want to be mindful of everyone's time, this is scheduled from 1 until 2. I'm usually pretty good about making sure that we end at 2. With that being said, of course, if there are questions or things that people have and there's someone with a willingness to stay on, of course, we can do that. However, for the actual program, I want to make sure that we are committed to the 50-minute slot that we have left. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to have, for this one, just to prepare yourself mentally, what I'm going to do is a mixture of objection handlers as well as different opportunities. So for this first one, if I can have Jac Smith and Jill Smith. We're going to start ladies first with Jill, and we're going to kind of move through this just so that you can hear two different ways of handling this particular objection. So this one is going to be, you know, we've got to do a lot of things around the house before we get the house on the market. You know, we'll give you a call in about a month or so when everything's complete. So Jill, handle that one first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't ready. So
Okay.
you're preparing the house for sale a month before.
Yeah, no, so we've got a couple projects we need to do before we're going to list with anybody. So, you know, just leave us alone until then.
Well, that's great. Can we go ahead and sign up and do the paperwork tonight? And then we'll date it out a couple of weeks while you get the house prepared. How does that sound?
So say that again.
Well, you're going to prepare the house in a month from now. And so what I'd like to do is go ahead and get the paperwork signed and get the house ready to just have all that done completed ahead of time. How does that sound?
Okay, yeah. I guess that doesn't hurt. So same question, Jack. We've got a whole bunch of properties on, or we've got projects around the house that we need to get going. You know, we really don't want to do anything until we have the house complete. You know, once that's done, then we'll give you a call. You're muted, Jack, by the way.
Michael, thank you for having us come back in today, and I really, really appreciate it. You know, one of the things that we discussed on the phone was that we needed to, we call it severely editing your home. And I want to thank you for allowing us to come in and help you do that. I know you have a little bit of construction work going on and some little bit of roof work, things that we discussed on our initial call. But I'd also like to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, when we're discussing this, that we sit down and do the paperwork, get that all taken care of. It normally takes us a couple of days to get our work in our computers to make sure everything is good. We have to have our photos done. We need to schedule that. And what we'll do is we'll come back in the day of the photos. The day of the photos, we'll come back in to make sure that everything is exactly as we want it to be. We work with professionals. Our professionals are really, really good. And I really want to make this a huge presentation on the market because, as you know, houses are selling really, really fast. And if they're presented well and they're priced well, and thank you for agreeing to price your home the way we wanted to price it, we're going to be in really good shape. So does that sound like a good idea for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll probably work. Good. Okay, so and what we're going to do is just, I would love if the people who are watching, you know, please be taking notes, take things that you find of interest, things that you want to play and plug into your own business. And then we're going to do a recap kind of at the end of some of the ways that people are handling some of these questions. Chase, I muted you just because you were traveling a bit, but I'm going to call on you now. And then Troy will have you follow. So Chase, you know, if I list my house with you and we buy through you, will you cut your commission?
Michael, great question. So when you decide to list your house with me, are you familiar with how commissions work?
I mean, fairly, but as you can imagine, if I'm giving you both, then I'd like a little bit of a deal.
Oh, sure, I understand. So when we list your house for sale, we pick, or you choose a commission that's up to you entirely, whether it's a 6% commission or a 7% commission. And then what we do is we pay out exactly half of that commission to a buyer's agent who's bringing a buyer to your house. We're not keeping more for ourselves. We're not taking less than a buyer's agent bringing, because we want to incentivize that buyer's agent into showing your house. And I know we went over that briefly. Now, when we do a purchase of a house, there is no set commission for me. I may end up selling you a house from a for sale by owner and making nothing on it, or I may end up getting a bonus commission from somebody who's paying out a higher commission to a buyer's agent. So as the buyer's agent, I really don't have any control over what that commission is. So there's no real promise that I can make to give you a commission back if that's what you mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I appreciate the clarity on that. So we're going to be able to pick a commission on the listing side and kind of go from there.
Of course,
definitely helps
as
me.
long as the commission you choose makes sense for the position that you're in.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate that very much. Troy, same question. If I buy through you and list with you, will you cut your commission?
Yeah, that would be great if it worked that way. I guess what we need to do is sit down. If I could get in front of you for 15 minutes, I'll show you how real estate commissions work and show you that you are actually not paying a commission when you're looking for a house, but it is a benefit to us. So I'm never going to get in an argument with you about commission. We will sit down and see what's best to put you in the best position so that buyer's agents want to show your home.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Eve, Miss Eve, my question for you is, I have to keep my promise to the person who sold me the house. I mean, I appreciate you. I think you're a nice person, but you know, they sold us our house 40 years ago, and I feel like I still need to call them.
You know, Michael, I admire you for your loyalty. It's a rare thing these days, and I can very much appreciate that the agent you worked with 40 years ago did a good job for you. However, I will tell you that real estate has changed enormously in the last 40 years. And what worked 40 years ago will not work now. I am a professional real estate agent. I have been a full-time real estate agent for the last 15 years. And I work for a company, Keller Williams, that has the latest technology in the real estate business. So what it allows me to do is to provide you with the best service possible for selling your home. There's a number of different approaches to selling your home, and we'll get together and figure out the best approach for you. But if you're looking for someone to sell your home as quickly as possible, with the least amount of hassle for you, for the most amount of money, then I'm your agent.
Okay. You know, to be honest with you, I don't even know if my agent's still alive. So
Well, there you go.
You're absolutely, you know, you're close up there. Okay, great. Jack, you're at the listing. You've already talked to them potentially about listing their home. And they say, you know, I want to find a house before we put ours on the market.
You know, Michael, I totally understand wanting to find a house before you put your home on the market, and I respect that 100%. What we have found is that if we go out and look for your perfect home, that might be exactly what we need to do. I know that if we position your house correctly with staging, with photography, and pricing right, that your home's going to sell right away. You're in a really desirable neighborhood, as you know, and that shouldn't be an issue. I think the most important thing we would have is to go out and find the home that you're looking for now. So let me go over that with you for a moment. May I go over with that for a moment for like the 5 key things that are really most important to you? I know we discussed that before, but why don't you give me just to refresh my memory, the 5 most important key things. Go ahead.
Sure. Blah, 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 blah.
Right. So blah, 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 blah is important to you. And out of that, what is the most important thing?
Definitely making sure that it's a smooth transaction, right? I mean, we got a lot of stuff and we got to move a whole lot of stuff, and I still work full time and everything else. I don't want the buying and selling process to be a nightmare like it was before.
Well, I can give you my assurance and my promise that we certainly will not have that happen again with any issues. I think the important thing is that we need to sit down and make a game plan on exactly how we can do that for you. We have movers, we have cleaners. We have any kind of service people that you need at our disposal. And I've already sent you the list of our vendors because you know exactly what you need to have done before we put your house on the market. So I think if we just take a look at what's important to you, let us take a look at the MLS. We'll put you on a search. Now, not every house that comes out is going to be exactly what you're looking for. However, they might be close to it. And we all know there's compromise and everything, right? So if you just let us send you those listings and we will search them out for you, we'll be more than happy to help you find your house before you put your house on the market. Does that sound like a good idea to you?
I mean, if you can make that promise, yeah, that'll do.
Well, it's more of a pledge than a promise, because what we do is we pledge ourselves to honor exactly what you're looking for, do exactly what we say. And as you know, we're 99.9% referral based. So anybody that we get into our doors is normally somebody that's been referred to us because they've previously been happy with the service that we provided.
Great, good point. Chase, let's see. I'm gonna go with the, I can see your price. I'm really feeling like it's 550,000 for us. We can always come down in price later.
Sure, I understand completely, Michael. So how did you arrive at that price?
Well, between Zillow, and I know that my house is way better than the neighbor's house, and their house sold for 490,000. And I mean, you look at that pool, you know that above ground pool is just prime.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. The pool's a big selling feature for sure. So, in this market, we do have a real shortage of inventory. So I understand why you might think your house is worth more than everybody else's. And it does have some really nice features that other houses don't have. The issue that I see is if we don't price your house right away, we may end up sitting too long on the market, becoming stale, and then people start asking, well, what's wrong with this house? This is such a hot market that we want to know why other people haven't purchased this house. It gets sort of a stigma about it. And then really for no other reason other than how many days it's been available on the market, people start not wanting to see it. So what we try and do is we let you pick the price absolutely within, a range that my team and I come up with. We do all the comparable sales. We treat it almost like an appraiser does. And I just want to make sure that we're not putting you in a position where you're overpricing your house and then ending up netting less money in the long run. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that absolutely does. Thank you for that. Jill.
Michael, just before you get going, people can't get in. They're trying to get in, got knocked out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they're getting in. It's just a slow connection. Thank you for that. Jill, I want to have an exclusion in the contract in case anybody that I know ends up wanting to buy the house.
I agree with you on that, Michael, and we can do that. And we'll put the name in on the exclusion for 2 weeks. And, if that buyer comes forward, then we'll honor that.
Okay, so if they buy it in 2 weeks, so why not after 2 weeks?
Well, then I would be working for free, basically. And I just want to give those buyers a chance to come in and make their offer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess a 2 week grace period would be pretty good. Let's see, Troy. The question that I have for you is, everything sounds great. We still, though, we still like to interview a few more agents.
Sounds great, Michael. You want to make sure that you get the right person in front of you that you're comfortable with. So tell me what you're looking for that I haven't already answered.
Well, I don't necessarily know if it's, you're great. And the team, all of that sounds great. I guess, it's kind of like that fear of missing out, and I don't know if someone can do better because we've only interviewed you.
Right. So I won't go down this aisle, but we usually say, listen, we're a top team in the area of the market. So I'm not going to do that. But I think what any agent could answer is just say, everybody has that fear of missing out, that you might make the wrong decision. The thing is, I'm here right now. And while you're out interviewing, we could already have your home sold so you could move on. I know you want to get up north with your niece in whatever. And I think that that's important that we get that done quick for you. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess the peace of mind and whatnot, I guess, I don't really know what I was looking for, but it always just sounds like the right thing to do is to get multiple opinions.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even people that decide to interview 4 or 5 agents, they normally go with the first agent. And you just have to be comfortable with that. And if I've told you everything and you're comfortable, then we should move forward and get this property on the market. The last 5 properties that I've listed, Michael, have sold in less than 7 days for over asking price. I believe that I can do the same thing for you. If your property is priced, we will most likely have multiple offers. No promises, but in this market, that's how we've been. That's how the market has been reacting. So let's get this signed and listed. And honestly, you change your mind overnight, and we'll come back and have a conversation about it. But I think you're making the right decision.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I can't ask for more if it's going to be over asking. So that'll be great. Thank you, Troy. Let's see, Eve. I'm only going to list my house with someone who brought a buyer in while we were for sale by ownering.
I'm sorry, run that by me again.
We're only going to list with one of the agents that brought a buyer to our house when we were doing it for sale by owner.
Okay, let me make sure I understand. What you are thinking you would like to do is to list your house with an agent who brought a buyer and was unsuccessful in having that buyer purchase your home. Is that correct?
I mean, if you say it that way, I guess, but
and Michael,
where were you when we were trying to list it ourselves?
Michael, I'm right here now. And I am willing to do the absolute best job for you. And frankly, as I mentioned, if an agent came with a buyer and it didn't work out, I'm not sure that that agent is the right person to list your house. But I can tell you that I have listed many homes in this neighborhood. I have sold many homes in this neighborhood, and we have a very hot market right now. I have had the experience in the last month of 4 homes that I've listed. They sold in under 5 days. This market is red hot. When we price your house correctly, it's going to go right away. So what do you say? Let's go ahead and get the listing paperwork signed and get your house on the market and sold.
I guess. I mean, I'm over just all these people in my house every weekend. So.
Well, and so let's say that we're just going to show it for the next 3 or 4 days, and then it'll be sold and you won't have people in your house anymore.
Okay, good. Jack, I appreciate the call. I really do. We've got a friend in the business. If we're going to list it with anybody, we're going to list it with our friend.
Michael, I can appreciate the position, and we hear that all the time. Everybody has a friend or a family member that's in the business. But let me just ask you this. Is that friend or family in the business full time?
I mean, I don't know. I see all their Facebook memes and stuff that are about real estate. I assume that they are.
Well, I think one of the things that I can suggest is that when you're working with a professional, when you're meeting with the professional, they're going to be able to give you the information that you need right away. Not everybody is prepped the way we are here at Keller Williams. We have an inordinate amount of classes that we take to learn exactly how to do this. I think one of the key things in that is your negotiation power, Michael. And if you're seller, I mean, if you're selling your house and you don't have a premier negotiator, there's a little bit of an issue you might have there, especially with somebody that's not working full time. Do you agree that working with somebody full time is important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I want someone dedicated to selling the house.
Well, we have almost 300 agents in our office. And one of the things that we do offer that not other agencies have is that we do have something called our exclusive listings in the office. And because our office is in Pinellas County and we're the #1 selling office and listing office in Pinellas County, we have agents that many times sell the house before they even go on the market. And as was mentioned before, many times they go over the asking price. So would that be something you'd be interested in, that you wouldn't have to have people in and out of your house, and then we can get your house sold in the shortest amount of time by talking to other agents that are right here in our office?
I mean, yeah, well, I guess if you sold it before you even put it on the market, do I have to still pay you the full price?
Well, that's a great question, Michael. And yes, absolutely. Because the other side of that is we don't know exactly who the selling agent is going to be in the office. And we're a 6% listing agent. and we want to make sure that we participate with the other agent fairly. When you have, many times we have discount listers that are out there at the 4 and 5%. You know, I know you drive a Lexus. Would you want an agent that's a Yugo?
Well, you know, I guess not.
Well, so then why don't we go ahead, let's get the paperwork signed. And you know, we also have an actual clause in our contracts that if any time you are not satisfied with the service at all, you're more than welcome to call us and say if we can renegotiate it, or that maybe you need to go on to another seller. I mean, another agent, because we price our homes to sell and we list them to sell. So we don't just list houses, we sell homes. And while you're interviewing me, I'm also interviewing you to make sure that we're in collaboration and cooperation. You know, when we go through this process, are you coachable in how we get all this done?
I mean, I've never had a coach, and I don't really want you to tell me what to do with my house, but I mean, I do want to get the house sold.
Well, let me remind you, Michael, that, you know, Doug Parton referred you to us, and we sold Doug's house in less than 24 hours because he listened to what we had to do.
Yeah, and you know, he loves you guys, so I guess that makes sense.
And we want you to love us too. So let's go ahead and do the paperwork and get it done.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. All right, Jill. You know, we told you that we were going to sell it next year. Why do you keep calling us? You're muted, by the way, Jill.
So why do I keep calling you? Well, first of all, I'm doing my job. Second of all, you never know when you're going to want to list your home again. How come you can't see me?
We can still hear you, Jill. We can imagine what you look like. Keep going.
Okay, so that's why I keep calling you. You just, you know, I'm just want to stay in touch with you and see if there's anything that I can help you with. If you need any referrals for any kind of maintenance around your house or anything, just want to check in with you. That's all.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. Sorry to be so kind of angry. I mean, it was just like, you know, I just didn't want to get your hopes up, and so that's why I was like, you know, why do you keep calling us? Good, Jill. Let's see, Chase. Let's go with. I mean, Jesus, you're like the 15th person from your office to call me today. Would you guys just leave us alone?
I can't believe 15 other people got to you before I did. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, it's the new year. I mean, it's like every single person from Keller Williams is calling me.
It is. And part of the reason is there's so little inventory available on the market right now. And frankly, Michael, we didn't know that your house was for sale the first time around. The agent didn't sell your house to us. You know, there's 5,000 houses on the MLS right now, and I don't know every single one of them. So what we do in our office is we market your home for sale. We want as many people's eyeballs on it as possible. And we want as many people through the door to bring you the top dollar and the best buyer we possibly can. We want you to pick the best offer. We don't want to just wait around for somebody to make it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good.
Listen, Troy, I loved everything. You're great. And you know what? Well, will you cut your commission to 4%? I mean, other agents will. We heard these other people. We love what you're doing. If you could do what you say you could do for that, I mean, it's yours.
So Michael, think of it this way. Whatever you decide to pay for commission, we're going to split evenly with every other agent that decides to come in and show and sell your house. And so one of the reasons why we get top dollar is because we get your house marketed properly, and we get the most amount of people through your home in a short amount of time. And so if you're offering out X amount commission, you really want to make sure that the buyer's agents want to show your home. That's going to get you the most amount of money. If you're fighting them on what you decide to pay out and they don't want to show your home, you're automatically in a situation where if the agent doesn't want to show it, they're going to move on to something else. That should never happen, but I can promise you it happens in our market every single day. What we've found is the way that people get top dollar on their home and the way that we get perform well for our sellers is to run our entire marketing process, our commission process, everything exactly the way we normally do it. That's why our sellers are ranting about how great we are and how much money we made them and got them top dollar for their property. If we can run our whole success story on your home, we are definitely going to net you more money. One of those things is paying a proper commission. That's why we charge 6%.
I guess that makes sense. All right, Eve. You know, for me, Eve, it's one of those things that I really want a lot of advertising. So how much advertising do you do?
Well, the answer to that is the right amount. I have a number of advertising vehicles that I utilize for my sellers, and a lot depends on the type of buyer that we're targeting for your home. But to give you an example, I certainly advertise on the internet. That is something that is absolutely required in this day and age. Pictures are critical for selling your home, and I have a professional photographer who does excellent indoor shots, drone shots, shots of the neighborhood, everything that we need. Those pictures go everywhere. They go out on the internet. I send out flyers in the neighborhood. I send out flyers both online and paper flyers to the pool of buyers that I have. I notify the buyers in our office. And for particularly expensive listings like yours, I have a set of advertising vehicles that includes the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, international websites where people from other countries who are looking for second homes in the United States have the ability to take a look at your home with all the pictures and all the information. I also personally advertise your home. I stand up in meetings. My office has 300 agents, and we have meetings where we stand up and pitch our listings. I pitch it around town in pitch sessions. I grab realtors by the ear and I give them the pitch on your property and the reason that their buyers should come and see it. So advertising spans a lot of different channels and I use them all. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot more than I thought. I thought you were just going to put, you know, a sign in our yard or maybe, you know, put something in the St. Pete Living or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that sounds great.
Yeah, real estate's a different business now. It's mostly online.
Yeah, no, I see that. Thank you. Jac, I'm just going to prep. So I'm about to ask Jac a question. For everybody else, I'm just letting you know, not everybody that's here. Thank you for those of you that are here. But making sure that we get an opportunity because people have asked for the people who are currently being asked scripts. The next one that you all are going to get is going to be the same one, which is why should I choose you? Before that, Jac, the question is, why is your price so low? I mean, we've interviewed with other people and they've brought comps. Why is your price lower than everything that they said?
Michael, that's a really good question. And I really can't answer why other agents have priced it low. I can only tell you that we have a comprehensive way of pricing your home. We go through the data in the entire neighborhood, also within a half mile around the area. We also use something which is called RPR, which is our computerized model that tells us what they think that the house is going to sell at. And sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong. I think when you work with an agent that knows exactly how to price your house and has a good history of selling homes at or above asking price, and we're normally around 99%. And we've sold homes, quite honestly, in the past year from $22,000 boat slip to a $5.5 million house in Tampa that was listed with 4 other agents. We price our homes to sell correctly. So what we'd like to do is make sure that we price it and position it correctly. And that is really done in a multitude of things. By the way that we price it, by the way we present it. We do virtual open houses. We follow all CDC guidelines. And pricing is not always the most important thing in the house. What matters most is that we net the pricing for you. So what we'll do is also go directly to our title companies. And so right now you're thinking you want around 550 for your house. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. So what we do is that we'll go to our title company that we're in partnerships with, and we'll get a pricing on a 550 home, a 575 home, a $600,000 home, and a 5 1/4 home. So you know exactly what you net. So when we come to the table with the offers, and I know that we're going to have multiple offers on your home because it's stunning. You guys have done a great job. We can sit down and see exactly what you net, and you have it in black and white, and there's no questions. Does that answer the question for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess to your point, there's no way that you can know why they did theirs. We were just curious why your price seems so much lower than theirs. But you know, if that's what your data says.
Well, let me just also say this, is that we can price a home anywhere. The market determines the price of the house. We really don't determine the price of the home. So many homes that we think that are going to sell for more, but we're going to prep you right up front. This house is absolutely stunning. We know that it's going to be priced right. We have a lot of cash buyers. We have people coming down from up north that know exactly what they're buying. They've sold their house for $1 million up there. They're coming down here and buying this gorgeous home for $550. They put $450 in the bank. Wouldn't you want to do the same thing?
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Thank you, Jack. So as a reminder, we're going to go round robin for the why should someone choose you. So I'm going to start with Jill. Jill, you know, I know like 9 realtors. Why should I choose you?
Well, I do work for Keller Williams downtown St. Pete, the #1 office in Pinellas. And that speaks very highly. My background in real estate proves itself. We have done very well this past year. And remember that the house will sell itself. I'm showing you right here these 3 comps in the neighborhood, comparable sales. And it's going to go by what's sold, not what's on the market. It's the sold properties is what we need to look at. And when we look at these 3 properties, I want you to tell me which one do you think that your house most is like in this market. So which house resembles yours, and which price do you think that your house would sell best at?
Good.
And that's what I think is the most important thing, is that we can look at the actual market itself and prove.
Thank you, Jill. Eve, why should I choose you?
You know, Michael, I have really enjoyed speaking with you for the past 30 minutes about selling your house. And as we discussed, I have a strong background in marketing as well as in real estate and in advertising. So I'm very professional. I work full time. I'm with the largest office in Pinellas County and the most successful real estate office in Pinellas County. I have a network of 300 agents who are going to be working hard to find buyers for your house. But more importantly, Michael, I am personally invested in making sure that you get the most money for your house with the least amount of hassle. Selling a home is, for most people, the largest financial investment that they're ever going to participate in. And for many people, their retirement is tied up in selling their home, their kids' college education is tied up in selling their home. And I understand that, and I feel very keenly that it's my responsibility, my ethical responsibility, to make sure that everything goes smoothly for you and that you get the most money possible and that you are very happy with the transaction when it's done. So the reason you should choose me, Michael, is because I will do the best job for you, and I will treat selling your home as if I was selling my own. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Chase, why should I choose you?
Good boy. I feel like we have a good connection. I feel like you agreed with almost everything I talked to you about during the whole presentation here. It just seems like we're a really good fit. You know, besides that, we are one of the most successful teams in the area, and really you get 2 teams for the price of 1. Between the Lockhart and Walseth team and the Walseth team, We have tremendous value that we can provide to you and bring buyers to you possibly before it even goes on the market. As Troy mentioned earlier, we've sold 5 out of our last 6 houses have gone multiple offers above asking price. And the leverage that that creates for you as a seller can't be understated.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that. That answers it for me. Troy, why should I choose you?
Michael, because I'm going to show up for you in a huge way, starting with your photography. I'm going to be there with the photographer. I'm going to make sure that the photos are done properly to put your property in the best light. We might move a few things around to make sure that it's showing the best way it possibly can on photos, because a photo is your first showing. They're going to decide by looking at that photography whether or not they want to look at your home. Okay. So next, I'm going to sit with my admin, and we're going to input this into MLS, and we're going to make sure that every single box checked that can be checked. We're going to get very, very detailed on it, because I've relisted properties for people that have been on the market before that forgot to put that there's a sailboat slip, forgot to put that there's that it's on the water, it's waterfront. Forgot all kinds of things where it's not showing up on every single search. So we need to make sure that your property is input perfectly. After that, I'm going to show up for you on showings. You've got the type of house that people may not know your neighborhood inside out, but we do. We live and work in Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, and the beaches where your home is located. And we want to make sure that the agents are well informed about the neighborhood and the positives in your neighborhood. We want to make sure that the buyers know that it's just a quick boat ride out to the Gulf of Mexico, and that there's only one fixed bridge in between your house and the water. After that, we're going to get you under contract, and I'm going to show up for the inspections. The inspectors are going to be there to dissect every single thing in your home. And I know I've been through hundreds of these, and several of them I've saved the deal by being there. Somebody tells the buyer that there's a safety hazard with non-grounded outlets, and don't ever ask a question you don't know the answer to. We ask the inspector, oh, so tell me about that. Is that a big deal? Because the color has lost the buyer's face at this point. So we're going to talk to them about, yeah, it's like a $30 a box fix. It's not a big deal. So that can be fixed, and it can be done at a very low price, correct? We've seen all these inspections. We're going to show up for the appraisals for you. Most of these appraisers know me. They're going to trust me with the comps. Some of the sales that we're going to be using are sales that I've sold personally. And so I'm going to show up for you in the appraisal and the walkthrough. Not to mention that my administrative staff that's going to be helping with this right through the very last second has seen thousands of transactions. Name any agent in the area that can tell you that. They've seen thousands of transactions, and we're going to get you to closing. So love me, hate me, trust me. Hopefully you trust me, but we're going to show up for you in a huge way. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you, Troy.
Yep.
Jac, why should I choose the Jac Smith team?
Michael, you know, I love having you ask all these questions today, and they're really, really good ones. I think one of the things that's important to know is that I work for the #1 real estate company in the world. I work for the #1 real estate company in Pinellas County, and I'm in the top 10% of the teams in our office. We actually rank number 5 in a team out of 300 agents. You know, there's several things that we do. We have a 7-point process that we do when we market our homes. I don't know if you know it or not, but we're partnered with, Keller Williams is the only luxury company partnered in the world with Google and Facebook. We do exclusive advertising through some of the algorithms that they have set up for us. We're also able to go in and see who exactly has been moving into our area from other parts of the country. The other thing we do is when we list the house, when we go to list the house, the day that we list the house, we go out and we door knock your neighborhood. Now there's 5 of us on the team. We each take 75 flyers. You can do the math there and see we're going to go to how many homes, almost 500 homes. Not everybody does that. The very next day, we're going to be on the phones, and we're going to be circle prospecting the neighborhood and letting people know that the house is on the market, asking them, do they know anybody in the neighborhood? Because many times when we circle prospect, they have friends and family that want to be on the market, that want to be in the neighborhood, correct? We follow all CDC guidelines when we list homes. We have booties, we have a sign in the home. We make sure we have our appointments. When we go back and show the home, we go back and wipe out all the doorknobs and take care of all that, so nobody's worried about COVID. We also create a narrative, and I think the narrative that goes in the MLS is something I learned from one of our top agents in the office. And when we write a narrative about your house, we want to write a story, so they're actually creating a movie in their own brain as they read the house. Now, mind you, they have 3D pictures right there, right in front of them, right? But as they read the narrative, without the pictures, we want them to create exactly what they're going to see. I think the other part of it that is important to know is that you were referred to us by Doug. And as I said to you earlier in our conversations, 99% of our clients are referrals. So with that being said, we also sold your neighbor's house down the street at about $30,000 more than they originally wanted. Do you remember when we did that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, you know, I hope I've given you enough ammunition. We want to earn your trust. We want your business, and we would love to partner with you and get your home sold as soon as possible. Does it look like we can do that sometime in the next couple of days? Yes, is the answer.
Great. So what I'd love to do is we'd like to queue up for a moment. So as promised, it's about 1:50, 1:51. We got about 9 minutes left. If you would please share your ahas. If you want to type them, you're more than welcome to type them in the chat box. If you would like to speak, please just go right next to your name. There's a more button where you can raise your hand. That way we can kind of bring people in and we're not all speaking on top of each other. Before we do that, I just want to reiterate for all of you that are on here that although this was a wonderful program, and thank you to those of you that participated, Chase, Troy, Jill, Eve, and Jack, it's very important. The great thing about this is not a spectator sport when we talk about scripts, right? Scripts themselves, script practice is a monologue, role play is a dialogue. And so what you're seeing today, for those of you that might not be familiar with script practice and role playing, with script practice being a monologue, something that you work on and internalize together, the role play aspect is not someone watching you read from a script or watch you struggle through reading out loud because it's been since grade school or your house of worship since you've spoken outside, right? This is really about the internal way of responding to and being in the midst of a conversation. We can prepare as best as possible, but it's not until we're in these situations and being able to answer them authentically and with confidence that we're really going to see the growth that's there. So thank you to those of you that were here and did the scripts with us. Ronnie, you raised your hand, so if you would please unmute yourself and just give us some of your takeaways and ahas from this.
So great job by everybody and stepping up to the plate. That's the one thing, because it can be nerve-wracking to do that, especially when you're in front of your peers. It's scary though. This is where you want to be, and the way we get better is to go off our peers. About the only thing I would say is, and I know guys, everybody's going for solve the objection, but I was taught way back, you got to do the 4-step approach to handling objection. And when that's internalized, it kind of backs the seller up, the buyer, whichever side it's on. So.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ronnie. I appreciate it. Let's see. Please, again, if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. If you're putting it in the chat box. One thing to reiterate, I always do this in case you are not aware, AHA, right? When we ask for AHAs actually stand for agents helping agents. And so this is a concept that when you share your feedback, when you share what you learned, when you share the things that are going to work for you, you might have picked up on something that someone else has missed. And so when we clear an exercise, when we clear a workshop like this with AHAs, it's one of the most impactful things that we can do to really make sure that we're cementing. So please feel free to raise your hand and or write in the chat box. Harrison said, I thought that Eve's response about an agent bringing a buyer to a for sale by owner and not getting a sale was brilliant. It was answering a question by asking a question. He also followed up and said, really listen to what the customer is saying so that you can provide them with the information that they are actually looking for and need to make a decision. Great observation, Harrison. Does anyone else want to give some feedback? Okay, Z, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I like when Jac was talking with you and was discussing about why you drive a Lexus when you want to drive a Hoover. And I think that was a great comeback. You was taken back like, oh no, I don't want to drive that. So that was really good. Great job, Jack.
Thank you for that, Z. We appreciate it. Let's see. Pam said, thank you, everyone. So just as a thank you to those that have volunteered. Ian, please share with us some ahas.
Did you say Ann?
I did say Ann.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. No, I think getting on the court is it's all about practice, and it is, it's humbling. It is. I have a pit in my stomach for you all, and you can't say enough about practice. And going for the close sooner, I think, and saying less is such a gift, and I think that only comes from practice. Good job.
Absolutely. Thank you. I agree. And let's see. Christine said everyone did a great job repeating and approving the question. So you hear anytime that there was an objection, responding back by saying, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the question. Absolutely. We want to be in agreement. This is where, for those of you that have partaken in bold, this language of not using but after we're validating something that they say, I really appreciate what you're saying, but completely takes away from everything that they were saying, right? So you heard it very much ingrained in so much of, I really appreciate that question. You're absolutely right. I can see how you could feel that way, or that does sound logical, doesn't it? Is absolutely one of those things. Let's see. Genoa said, I liked how Jac mentioned that he's going to create a narrative. It's interesting to hear all of the different responses to the last question. And to Jac's point, we do have to give a shout out to Miss Eve Sawicki, who does our Pitch Perfect classes, giving people an opportunity to stress and express themselves from the presentation standpoint. And if we had more time, I'd have you do the Hiawatha listing description, but we're not going to do that. Let's see. Steve says, do you have to be a luxury agent to have access to the exclusive Google Facebook ads feature that Jac was talking about? No, that's something that's Keller Williams. Jac and his team are positioned. Obviously, they will work with anyone, just as they said, a $5,000 boat slip all the way up to a $5.4 million house. Anything happens, he's using that to position himself. The Google and Facebook language, that is across Keller Williams International. So you can absolutely use that language right now. Let's see. Eve said, loved Troy's response to lowering commission by stressing the value that he brings. Yeah, I can't agree more. Let's see, let's get two more ahas and then we'll wrap up at the top of the hour. Let's see, Jawad?
Yes, thank you for letting me speak. This was incredible. I'm a newer agent, so listening to all you guys. Thanks, Ron. Listening to all you guys, and I'm recording this whole thing, so I can't wait to go back and listen to this and put some more, arsenal on my belt. And yeah, that was incredible. I like how Jac outlined all of the like everything he does. Like, we're gonna have 5 agents go out and door knock 500 homes. Nobody does that. And not only that, but you were so yeah, I think that was incredible, and thank you for posting this so I could listen in.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Let's see, one more. Let's have one more aha before we wrap up today. I can sit in silence for a very long time. All right, well, my aha is, I just love actually having this experience for people to not only see, but really to watch. And so many of the people, as Jac had mentioned, as being a productivity coach, and watching the journey of the people that are on here in just the level of comfortability with the scripts, with some of the scripts and role play. It doesn't just happen because of the years that you've been in the business, right? You don't just start to manifest these scripts and have the confidence of handling these objections just because you've had your license for a certain amount of years. This is about dedication and making sure that, as we know, as a job description of a real estate agent, that we are to lead gen, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and scripts and role play, right? Scripts and role play is absolutely a part of your job description, and it's apparent today those individuals who have made it a part of their business, and obviously the volume soon follows thereafter. So as promised, it's 2 o'clock. It's the top of the hour. I want to thank you all very much for being here. Thank you to our members who were doing the scripts. We do have this recorded, so you're more than welcome to reach out. We will have this posted as well as a way to go back. Please feel free to reach out with anything that you might need. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye, everybody.